Hi, this is Amy from Visionary Family Ministries. I don't know about you, but quarantine has been kind of stressful on our family. We've had all the range of emotions of lots of tears, anxiety, a lot of grief, a lot of sadness, and plenty of, I would have to say, anger and conflict as well. So we are going through all of that just like everybody else around the country is. But I wanted to talk to you today about the importance of laughter in our home. I've already talked to you about building heart connection through prayer and heart connection through work, but probably one of the most important things to build heart connection with our kids and with our spouses is laughter. How do we increase laughter in our homes? And how do we increase laughter together as a family? I want to start with just explaining to you kind of a very interesting circumstance I just had when we had traveled to Dubai last fall. And when we were speaking in Dubai, it was very interesting just to hear from different church leaders about some of the problems that they're facing in their families. And what one woman told me is how dependent parents are on their screens, that they've really gotten to the point, and what I mean by screens is handing kids screens, you know what I mean, whether it be an iPad or a phone to kind of, discipline or just deal with the situation. They're really accustomed to using screens in that manner. So I started to pay attention to that, and when Rob and I went out to dinner, it was like the end of the trip, it was the two of us together, and we were at a nice place. It was kind of like a resort family hotel place. And I looked at the dinner tables around us and watched people coming in with their kids. And literally, I did not find one family who did not come into the table, set up screens for each of their individual kids. If they had two and maybe even three, everyone had their own individual device. And then the parents or adults were talking, socializing together. And it was literally all over the restaurant. And I honestly have never seen anything to that extreme here. But I just thought of that as such an extreme example of how everyone is laughing. Those kids were enjoying what they were watching, or they were obviously entertaining themselves, having a good time. You could see the kids happy and laughing on their screens, and the parents were laughing with each other. But nobody was having any sort of shared laughter experience together as far as the parents being laughing and having that heart connection with their kids. They're all having these individual experiences. And really, this quarantine time is a time where we typically have these very individual lives where kids have their world of school and parents have their world of work, and home can sometimes just be what I call like a staging ground to the next thing. But now we're really seeing in this time of quarantine just how important home really is, and how home is the place where we want to have the strongest heart connections. And one of the ways we do that is through laughter. When I think about laughter and heart connection, I think of my grandmother. My grandmother passed away from cancer when I was in 8th grade. And most of that year of going through the suffering of seeing my grandma just decline with all of her health was a hard year. It was a sad year. But at the same time, there are two memories that stand out in that year for me. One is the night that my sister, my mom, and my grandmother and I gave my sister and I gave makeovers to my mom and my grandmother. And that is, we just laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. The other is playing this board game called Mad Magazine. I don't even know if that exists anymore, but my grandma was willing, even in her sickened condition, to play this game with us. And those two memories are by far the strongest memories I have, not just of that year with my grandmother, but really of almost all my experiences with her. They stand out the most, and they stand out as such as this wonderful, fun time that I had with my grandmother. So even in the midst of really hard and sad times, it was that laughter that we had that really connected our hearts together. So how do you have more laughter in your home? Well, first I would say one of the most important things for parents is to learn to laugh at yourself. I can't think of a better thing that breaks tension in the home or breaks even a difficult day when I say something really stupid and it just all of a sudden we're all laughing on the floor because of another one of the stupid things that mom says. In fact, my kids have this list of what we basically call mom-isms that are just the ongoing phrases that I have said that have They're just sort of ridiculous. And I actually have Lainey here to show you one.
Mom, my stomach feels like it's going to explode. Mom, that is awesome.
And Millie here to show you another one.
Okay, so this is my mom holding it right. Millie, go find Ray's butt. Wait, what?
I could go on and on with those, and I'm sure you have those yourself. But when, as parents, we learn to laugh at ourselves, it teaches our kids to laugh at themselves. That is so important. Do you know people who are older adults that are not able to laugh at themselves? I mean, that brings so much healing into a family when parents can learn to take themselves a little less seriously. And to be honest, we're going to have emotional days where things are really hard. Maybe you have conflict, we can have grief. I mean, all these emotions we're having in the Rienow house right now. But laughter is great medicine. In Proverbs 17:22, it says, "A happy heart is good medicine, and a joyful mind causes healing, and a broken spirit dries up the bones." This verse has become so real to me during this time because we have been dealing with some sickness here. And I've just been amazed that when I have gone through like let's say we'll call it a stressful interaction with my husband, i.e. some sort of a fight, or I've had some difficulties, my daughter and we all have different relational things going on here. But what I noticed is that after I've gotten through one of these conflicts, that this illness or this that we're fighting in our house, like I will immediately feel more sick. It's like those negative emotions just drain me and drain my immune system's ability to fight off the sickness. But when there's a lot of laughter in the house, I immediately feel better. So one of the things that we've always done in our home to kind of increase family laughter is we really love movie nights. Now, some families love game nights, some families, our history with game nights, I feel like we can really like level up when we go to other places, and in like more other settings outside of our home, we do pretty good with game nights. And my kids play games with their friends and they play games with their cousins all night long. But a game night at the Rienow house right now is not going to increase a lot of laughter. I can tell you that there will be issues, whatever game we choose to play, and that may not really increase the laughter all that much. So everybody's kind of stressed. We like to do lots of family movie nights. And the way that we do that is that we let one person choose and pick the movie, and then everyone else is part of that together. When we think about laughter, it's so important for our kids to know to grow into what is funny and what is good to laugh at. What I mean by that is that kids are always trying to peek into the adult world. And for example, if we just live in a world where we put our kids to bed and then we do watch our entertainment, let's say entertainment that may not be as age appropriate for them, the kids are just going to grow into wanting to do what we want to do, or they're going to laugh at what we think is funny. But when we enter in their world and laugh at the things that they think are funny, that really builds heart connection. And what's so great right now is that there are so many things, and especially in the area of movies, that are great family movies where there's entertainment for kids and for adults together. So we, for example, watched Open Season last night, and there was not one person who didn't enjoy that movie together because it was just really funny. We all had a chance to laugh together. Laughter builds heart connection. And make sure as a parent, we're using this time to enter into our kids' world and understand what they think is funny and enjoying these things together, not individually. So thank you for listening, and I hope that this video helps you to increase the laughter in your home.